I have a temper disorder. The doctor told me that people with this condition are prone to explosive anger and uncontrollable emotions, which might be related to social stress factors or psychological issues. Fortunately, I have a very loving boyfriend, Jack, who stays by my side. We have been together for 3 years. In the first 2 years, Jack had no money and could only deliver food to scrape together the high medical bills for me. Starting this year, he became wealthy, wearing the latest Nike shoes and using the newest phone models. However, his temper towards me also worsened, almost as if he wanted me to have an episode. His sudden wealth aroused my suspicion. One day, I was provoked and had an episode, accidentally breaking his phone. Out of courtesy, I intended to buy him a new one. I hadn't been out or online for years, so when the store clerk saw me, he was shocked and asked if I was the caged heart. I was confused, and he took out his phone, opened an app, and showed me Jack's personal profile.
Are you the caged heart?
The profile was filled with images of me during my episodes, and some videos were even pixelated. No wonder Jack had become so wealthy recently, he had found a quick way to make money. Enraged, I had another episode. When I confronted Jack at home, we accidentally fell from the 3rd floor.
Are you crazy?
The 3rd floor wasn't too high, but I still lost a lot of blood and was rushed to the hospital. When I regained consciousness, I found my best friend, Emily, by my bedside, crying her heart out.
Sophia, how could you be so desperate? I'm sorry, I should have been there for you during your episodes.
I was stunned. My best friend was crying over my body, so who was I? I tried to make a sound, but when I did, I scared myself. It was Jack's voice. I immediately realized that Jack and I had swapped bodies. At that moment, Jack also groggily woke up and was startled to see Emily crying over him.
What? How did I become like this?
Emily, thinking he had hurt his head, quickly went to call the doctor. Sitting on the hospital bed, I suddenly laughed. Jack noticed this and, without even putting on his shoes, rushed over and grabbed my collar.
Sophia, what did you do to me? Change us back right now.
I impatiently hissed and pushed him away. He stumbled and fell to the ground. How could I forget? My body was so weak because Jack never cooked properly for me. Sometimes, I only ate once a day. He wanted me to have episodes to get better material for his videos. I squinted my eyes and looked at Jack with disdain, speaking slowly.
Jack, what goes around comes around. You posted videos of my episodes online to gain sympathy and made me suffer. Now, it's your turn to experience this.
I was stunned. My best friend was crying over my body, so who was I? I tried to make a sound, but when I did, I scared myself. It was Jack's voice. I immediately realized that Jack and I had swapped bodies. At that moment, Jack also groggily woke up and was startled to see Emily crying over him.
What? How did I become like this?
Emily, thinking he had hurt his head, quickly went to call the doctor. Sitting on the hospital bed, I suddenly laughed. Jack noticed this and, without even putting on his shoes, rushed over and grabbed my collar.
Sophia, what did you do to me? Change us back right now.
I impatiently hissed and pushed him away. He stumbled and fell to the ground. How could I forget? My body was so weak because Jack never cooked properly for me. Sometimes, I only ate once a day. He wanted me to have episodes to get better material for his videos.
Jack, what goes around comes around. You posted videos of my episodes online to gain sympathy and made me suffer. Now, it's your turn to experience this.
After everyone left work in the evening, Sarah specifically asked me to stay and meet an important client with her.
This negotiation is crucial, Jack. Our big day is coming soon.
In the car, she adjusted my tie.
Brother Jack, our big day is coming soon.
I didn't know what she was up to or what secrets Jack had. The meeting was set at the largest hotel in town, by Jinhin. After getting out of the car, we were led by a waiter to a large private room. The room was filled with smoke, and a man in a suit was sitting on the sofa with two girls pouring him drinks. When he saw me, he dismissed everyone. As I walked closer and saw his face, I was completely shocked. It was the guy I met at the phone store a few days ago, the one who told me about the account. He knew Jack?
So, 3 days ago, I deliberately provoked your wife, and she had another episode, right? Do you have the material?
Deliberately provoked? It seemed he had someone intentionally anger me to make me sick. I suppressed my anger. If it weren't for this body, I would have slapped him right then.
Yes, Mr. Smith, thanks to you. We really appreciate you provoking Sophia. We're already working on the video, and once it's released, it will definitely cause a sensation online.
Mr. Smith smiled, and Sarah quickly handed over the contract she was holding. Mr. Smith opened the contract and smiled even more satisfactorily. I turned my head slightly and saw that the contract contained all my personal information. It even included my family situation, address, and how many relationships I had been in.
Hand your wife over to me, and I'll have someone humiliate her, then post the video online to gain traffic. There are so many kind-hearted people online. When you post a pitiful message, they'll donate money to you.
And Jack agreed to hand me over to be humiliated?
And the last time I pretended to be a phone store clerk and told her those things, she must know you posted her videos online. In the future, use this to provoke her more. The more episodes she has, the more videos you can make, and we'll make a fortune. By the way, if she doesn't have episodes, give her some chronic hormone water to make her lose hair and break down.
Hormone water? No wonder I had severe hair loss recently. It was because he gave me chronic hormone water. I always thought I was sick and even broke down crying.
I have to go now. We'll talk on WeChat.
I suspected that the man who encouraged Jack to film my illness was this Mr. Smith. Indeed, I found this man named Mr. Smith in Jack's WeChat contacts. Their chat history started exactly 1 year ago today. After reading the chat logs, I roughly pieced together what had happened. At midnight, Jack was still delivering food. He accidentally spilled an order and added the customer's WeChat to compensate. Gradually, the customer chatted more and more with him and eventually learned about my existence. Then the customer proposed a deal, saying I would make a lot of money. At that moment, Jack was moved. And that's how everything happened. I tightened my grip on the voice recorder, turned off my phone, and thought for a long time.
Jack, you forced me into this. I didn't want to go to extremes.
I didn't go home but went to the hospital instead. My mother-in-law, Mrs. Johnson, had come from the countryside to take care of Jack. But she was extremely picky. I noticed that Jack wouldn't have an easy time. Sure enough, as soon as I entered, I saw her sitting on the hospital bed, eating sunflower seeds, while Jack was squatting on the floor, washing her feet.
Mom, I really am Jack. Please believe me. I grew up with you. How can you not recognize your own son?
But his mom got even angrier. She kicked the foot basin, splashing water all over Jack's face.
Get lost. What nonsense are you spouting, you lunatic? I can't recognize my own son. I shouldn't have agreed to your marriage with Jack in the first place. If it weren't for the money Jack sends me every month, I wouldn't be here.
Jack covered his face and sat on the floor, crying helplessly. Seeing this, I quickly went over to hold Jack. Jack always thought I had a good relationship with his mom. When she saw me, she immediately changed her tone.
Oh, my son is here. I told your wife not to wash my feet, but she insisted. Look at what a good wife you married. By the way, son, you haven't given me living expenses for a few days. I'm taking care of your wife so diligently. It's only right, but you don't need to give me money.
So, she wanted money again. I lowered my eyes for a couple of seconds, and Mrs. Johnson thought I was reluctant to give her money. She then said she needed to use the restroom. After she left, Jack remained curled up on the bed, sobbing quietly, not daring to cry out loud. It seemed his mom had given him a hard time all day.
Jack, do you know what day it is today?
Jack thought for a couple of seconds and then suddenly lifted his head from his knees.
Did you meet him?
I raised an eyebrow. Jack completely broke down, hurriedly explaining that it had nothing to do with him and that it was all Sarah's doing. He claimed he was innocent. But he forgot that I hadn't mentioned anything specific yet. He confessed everything, revealing the weakest part of human nature. Before he could react, I handed him a glass of water.
Drink it.
Jack didn't dare take the water, staring at me blankly.
Does hormone water taste good? You made me drink hormone water to make me sick. Did you ever consider my feelings? If the doctor hadn't told me, I might never have known.
Narrator, tone, angry Jack finally came to his senses, unable to suppress his anger. He raised his hand to hit me but forgot about the difference in strength. I controlled his arm and pushed him back.
Sophia, tone, serious Jack, take good care of my body, or I can't guarantee what I'll do to Sarah.
Narrator, tone, serious since they wanted to offer me to Mr. Smith to make money, I'll make them pay. Narrator, tone, serious I had privately investigated Mr. Smith. His real name was David, and he was the CEO of a short video company. He had been in trouble for theft in the past, but started his own company after getting out. Narrator, tone, serious their company didn't have many creators, they recruited them one by one. Most of the creators' accounts had one thing in common, they thrived on pity. They earned money by exploiting sympathy, which was against all morals. Narrator, tone, serious the next day, I specifically brought Sarah to see Jack. Sure enough, Jack couldn't hold back and had a smug look on his face.
Jack, tone, excited, hey Sarah, do you have 2 birthmarks on your backside?
Narrator, tone, serious Sarah was stunned. Her face turned pale instantly.
Sarah, tone, hopeful sis, are you out of your mind? What nonsense are you talking about? I'll come back to see you when you're better.
Narrator, tone, serious with that, Sarah tightened her backpack straps and quickly left the room. Narrator, tone, angry outside, Sarah kept hitting my chest.
Jack, tone, angry, how could you tell her that?
Sophia, tone, feigned innocence, she was just talking nonsense. When is the action?
Narrator, tone, serious Sarah said to bring Jack to Jinhin at 5 p.m. tomorrow, and someone would arrange everything. Narrator, tone, angry I smirked, staring at her intently.
Sophia, tone, angry, aren't you afraid of getting struck by lightning for doing this?
Narrator, tone, hopeful Sarah felt a bit uneasy and pushed me.
Sarah, tone, hopeful stop joking. Once this is done, we can be together openly.
I learned that they wanted me to take Jack to the Jinhin hotel because David had already arranged everything. As long as the person was delivered, those people would take action. At 5 in the evening, I did take someone to the Jinhin hotel, but it wasn't Jack, it was Sarah. Sarah was lying drunk on the bed.
Are you really going to send Sarah in?
Of course, this is her retribution. Do you want to go in instead? If it's you, I wouldn't mind. Do you think you can use my body to do whatever you want? Forget it.
Jack fell silent. Sarah meant nothing to him, just a useless distraction. I turned around and messaged David.
I've delivered the person. I drank too much tonight. Wait for the headlines tomorrow.
David didn't care who was sent, he just wanted to make money from it. I didn't expect Jack to watch Sarah being sent in without any attempt to stop it. To him, anything or anyone that could bring benefits was just a means to an end. That's all. The next day, I was woken up by a call from David.
I told you to send Sophia in, but you sent Sarah instead. Are you trying to embarrass me? This is blowing up online now.
Who it was doesn't matter. I drank too much last night and don't remember. But if it makes you money, aren't you happy?
The other end went silent. 3 seconds later, the call ended and a link was sent over. The link showed, young woman allegedly threatened and severely injured, now in critical condition, accompanied by tense background music. According to David, I now had to claim Sarah as my sister and upload a video to my personal account. I nodded slightly and headed to the hospital alone. Sarah's neck was tightly bandaged. The doctor said she had lost the ability to speak.
I couldn't hold back and laughed out loud.
I set up my phone on a stand and started recording slowly.
Why did you send me in?
Sarah, take a good look. Who am I? Do you think I look like Jack? Where do we look alike?
Sarah was speechless.
You had an affair with my husband and let him feel my illness. You have no humanity. But you didn't know I was already cured. Sarah, evil people get what they deserve. You deserve to be a voiceless ghost for the rest of your life.
The doctor came in with a stretcher and took Sarah to a psychiatric hospital. I turned to leave but saw Jack standing unsteadily against a wall not far away. He had been having a hard time with his mother recently, and his dark circles were getting worse. I decided to give his mother some money to take care of Jack since it was still my body. As soon as I came out, Jack ran up and grabbed my hand, demanding,
Where did they take Sarah?
Do you care about her so much? Do you want to go with her?
I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Now I know how hard it is to be a woman. I regret it. Please, let's go find a shaman and switch back. I have so much to do. Please, I'm begging you. If we switch back, I'll delete all the videos from my account. I won't film your illness anymore. I don't want anything. Let's switch back, okay?
Seeing him so desperate, I was somewhat moved.
If you behave, I'll switch back with you.
Really?
Of course, why would I lie to you?
Without thinking, Jack knelt down.
Then tell me, what do I need to do for you to switch back with me?
Before I could respond, I felt a solid kick to my back. At that moment, an elderly voice stirred a ripple in my heart.
Daughter, are you okay?
It was my elderly parents. They had always lived in the countryside and only came here after hearing about my illness. But it takes at least 4 or 5 days to get here from the countryside. How did they get here so quickly? Or did they already know about my illness? My dad was dressed in a suit and shiny leather shoes, while my mom wore an emerald green cheongsam, looking nothing like a rural woman.
You little brat, is this how you take care of my daughter? What if she gets sick? Can you afford to compensate?
It should have been a touching scene of a father protecting his child, but why was my dad winking at me? I was confused. At that moment, Jack seemed to remember something and hurriedly covered his dad's mouth.
Dad, I'm tired. Let's go back to the ward.
My dad pushed her away and told my mom to keep an eye on her. So, Jack was taken back to the ward by my mom, while my dad stayed behind.
Dad, why aren't you leaving? Sophia said she hasn't seen you in a long time and misses you.
He suddenly laughed heartily and adjusted his tie in an unconventional manner.
Jack, let's be straightforward. I don't mind you posting videos of my daughter's illness online, but when will I get my share of the 50-50 split you promised? After all, I provided my daughter, so you should fulfill your promise and give me the money.
My dad knew about this too. He was also using me for profit. Profit? Was I, Sophia, born to be abandoned? My dad knew about this and didn't stop it. I am his only daughter. And the reason he's been dressing so well lately is because Jack gave him money, right? And how did they get here so quickly? Jack must have bought plane tickets for them. Ridiculous, truly ridiculous. None of those who hurt me will get away with it.
I was stunned. My best friend was crying over my body, so who was I? I tried to make a sound, but when I did, I scared myself. It was Jack's voice. I immediately realized that Jack and I had swapped bodies. At that moment, Jack also groggily woke up and was startled to see Emily crying over him.
What? How did I become like this?
Emily, thinking he had hurt his head, quickly went to call the doctor. Sitting on the hospital bed, I suddenly laughed. Jack noticed this and, without even putting on his shoes, rushed over and grabbed my collar.
Sophia, what did you do to me? Change us back right now.
I impatiently hissed and pushed him away. He stumbled and fell to the ground. How could I forget? My body was so weak because Jack never cooked properly for me. Sometimes, I only ate once a day. He wanted me to have episodes to get better material for his videos.
Jack, what goes around comes around. You posted videos of my episodes online to gain sympathy and made me suffer. Now, it's your turn to experience this.
I was stunned. My best friend, Emily, was crying over my body, so who was I? I tried to make a sound, but when I did, I scared myself. It was Jack's voice. I immediately realized that Jack and I had swapped bodies. At that moment, Jack also groggily woke up and was startled to see Emily crying over him.
What? How did I become like this?
Emily, thinking he had hurt his head, quickly went to call the doctor. Sitting on the hospital bed, I suddenly laughed. Jack noticed this and, without even putting on his shoes, rushed over and grabbed my collar.
Sophia, what did you do to me? Change us back right now.
I impatiently hissed and pushed him away. He stumbled and fell to the ground. How could I forget? My body was so weak because Jack never cooked properly for me. Sometimes, I only ate once a day. He wanted me to have episodes to get better material for his videos.
Jack, what goes around comes around. You posted videos of my episodes online to gain sympathy and made me suffer. Now, it's your turn to experience this.
I was stunned. My best friend, Emily, was crying over my body. So, who was I? I tried to make a sound, but when I did, I scared myself. It was Jack's voice. I immediately realized that Jack and I had swapped bodies.
What? How did I become like this?
Emily, thinking he had hurt his head, quickly went to call the doctor.
Huh. This is insane.
Jack noticed my laughter and, without even putting on his shoes, rushed over and grabbed my collar.
Sophia, what did you do to me? Change us back right now.
Get off me, Jack.
I shoved him away, and he stumbled and fell to the ground.
How could I forget? My body was so weak because Jack never cooked properly for me. Sometimes, I only ate once a day. He wanted me to have episodes to get better material for his videos.
I squinted my eyes and looked at Jack with disdain, speaking slowly.
Jack, what goes around comes around. You posted videos of my episodes online to gain sympathy and made me suffer. Now, it's your turn to experience this.
I was stunned. My best friend, Emily, was crying over my body. So, who was I? I tried to make a sound, but when I did, I scared myself. It was Jack's voice. I immediately realized that Jack and I had swapped bodies. At that moment, Jack groggily woke up and was startled to see Emily crying over him.
What? How did I become like this?
Emily, thinking he had hurt his head, quickly went to call the doctor. Sitting on the hospital bed, I suddenly laughed.
Sophia, what did you do to me? Change us back right now.
I pushed him away. He stumbled and fell to the ground. How could I forget? My body was so weak because Jack never cooked properly for me. Sometimes, I only ate once a day. He wanted me to have episodes to get better material for his videos.
Jack, what goes around comes around. You posted videos of my episodes online to gain sympathy and made me suffer. Now, it's your turn to experience this.
Emily told me that Jack was taken to the police station for investigation. And David too. Jack and David were being scolded so badly online that even if they didn't go to jail, they would never recover from this.
Does Jack regret it? Does he regret treating me this way?
I took the 400,000 yuan from my account and traveled all over the country with my best friend.
As for my parents, I never called them again. Letting them go was also letting myself go.
And Jack, he would spend the rest of his life in guilt. Guilt forever.